slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks. Isn't that spitting slow, spitting fast? I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness, hilarious. You think you're worth my time, you're delirious, mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior, inferior. You know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams into modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds.
Thank you for putting this on for exchange.
I'm not giving in, I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind, I gotta make it. I'm saving every day to taste it, I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages, a vacant modern kingdom for the taking. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Big House here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Tonight, the 2025 campaign is here, and the time is now. This field recharged, reloaded. Some of the old Stas Fetties in the field going to be out there with some of the new up-and-coming stars, which should lead to a high-octane thriller as we get ready to rock and roll here on Redline Racing Network. This field already set by the qualifying races last week as Samuel Carter, winner of that second tool race, spinning uncontrollably there off the racetrack. Hopefully he can get that out of the way now, as just cutting to the live action. And the first thing we seen was the 97 going John Deere mode. Hopefully that's not a sign of things to come, as we're just about finished up here with our practice session. Traditionally, we'll have a qualifying session following practice. However, because of the qualifying races last week, this field has been set, ready to rock and roll. DJ Daniel will be your in-race reporter tonight as he starts deep in this field. Well, we have a moment. Let's go ahead and throw up the track facts here this evening. We'll put that up on the big screen for all of you to follow along at home. And again, super speedway racing at its finest right here out of Daytona Beach, Florida. Track temperature currently at 86 degrees. Partly overcast skies as that now updates. 54% relevant humidity. Winds could be a factor here tonight as they are gusting out of the east at 10 miles an hour and could go up to 15 to 17 throughout the course of this race. Silent force these drivers must pay attention to, especially coming out of the turns 3 and 4 complex this evening. The field now getting racked, stacked, ready to rock and roll here this evening. So let's go ahead and send it down trackside. We get ready to look at tonight's starting lineup. I mentioned top of the broadcast, new stars, up-and-comers into the series. Well, this front row is packed full of them, with your pole sitter in that 95 machine going to be Andrew Phillips. Actually, still waiting on the pole sitter to grid, but we're going to go ahead and keep rolling on with the show here. In fact, there he is now. He's going to be your pole sitter. Outside of him, going to be John Berry, rocking the number 11 machine. Kirby giving it to old Cap Tua. Hey, that's what he wanted me to say, so I'm saying it for him. Out of Georgia. Having a strong run here so far in the dual races. Samuel Carter, another one of your dual winners here out of Hackleburg, Alabama. Look for him to be strong this evening. Is Edwin Lidoff. Rolls off in that 5th place position. Kyle Gray. We all know what that 78 can do. Star of the Winter Series going to roll off P6, while Dylan Glazer is going to start in that 7th place position. Spencer Tart's going to roll off 8th, while James Pandolf, the HMFIC of the league, going to roll off 9th. Well, Marcus Jaffin going to round out your top 10. Look for the ALR cars to be strong here this evening. Nick Robinson starts 12th, while Brendan Broby going to roll off here 13th. Well, the Florida man, Bryce B., everyone's favorite driver, going to roll off here in that 14th place position. Ralph Pisano Sr. going to be good for a 16th place start, while Dave Acacia, longtime DRL competitor, going to roll off here in that 17th place position. Well, Gary Donaldson in the 6th machine going to start P18. Dakota Osborne 19th, while Mad Max in the 96 EA Sports Throwback Ride is going to round out your top 20. Farnsworth going to roll off 22nd. Chris James 23rd. Kenny Thompson, the Master of Chaos, going to round your top 25. Robbie Minor going to start 28th. DJ Daniel, your in-race reporter, in the rear with the gear 29th. Spencer Teal running out your top 30. Buzzy Mongold, Matt Sizzler, a.k.a. Sizzle Time, Taylor Butcher, Benjamin, Austin Freed, and we get ready to rock and roll here at Daytona. Green flag in the air. Let's do this thing from the big house. And I'm kidding, ladies and gentlemen. That was just a joke. We're not green yet. But I like your anticipation. I like the energy that I'm getting right now. It's that pace car now exits the racing surface. There he goes. Here we go. Field locked, rocked, ready to rock. It's time to wipe the dust, kick the clutch, hope that rear end doesn't bust. Green flag in the air. Let's get down to the boogie in the Big D. A 100 laps. That's going to be good for 250 miles, the scheduled distance this evening. Clean start here. As these Gen 4 cars have a restrictor plate, it takes them a little bit longer to get up to speed, but boy, when they do. You will see speeds over 200 miles an hour here this evening, as it's 2x2, side by side, Noah's Ark situation. We'll see a lot of that this evening. The 97 John Deere machine wasting no time where he left off last week. Samuel Carter working the high lane at a Heckleburg, Alabama. Ooh, that 97 got a little tight on him as he pushed up the racetrack. And remember, folks, this is the legacy version of this racetrack. That surface is anything but smooth. It's like riding a wooden roller coaster. It will jar you. Oh, already making a big dicey move there. Kyle Gray had other plans in the 78, and the 97 already in the early going looks like he is trying to keep Gray behind him. And probably not a bad idea, is that 78 is always a fierce competitor as he works that third car on the high lane. Cap Tua goes fast lap as he currently runs in fourth, coming out of 45.71 here in the early go. Top 4 cars even with the board. No change for position inside the top 5. In fact, you got to go all the way back to that, well, I shouldn't say all the way back, but to that 5th place position. As Kyle Gray up 3 positions to crack the top 5. A little further on back, how about Marcus Chaffin out of Hawkinsville, Georgia? Or Hawkinsville, Georgia, excuse me. Up 5 positions, just knocking on the back door of the top 10 here in 11th. He's got a mirror full of the Moo crew, man. James Pandolf in 12th. Look for that 74 to exercise a lot of patience here. Understands there's a lot of laps. You cannot win it on lap 1. You have to survive and be alive when it counts at the end of this thing. Look for him to hang out towards the back and then move to the front as this race progresses. Tell you what, you live in Florida or South Florida, need a set of tires, go check out this guy. He can hook you up, put the good stuff, put the vibe in your ride. Bryce B. In the 5 ride, of course, up 2 spots in the early going for that 13th place position. I see he changed his profile picture. Again, I was told this was to prepare for this. The little things that he does behind the scenes. I love his attention to detail. Almost 3 wide there. As we quickly shuffle back to 2 lanes of fury. Check in on our in-race reporter, DJ Daniel. The Virginia man. Oh, we have problems as 2 cars get yeeted. We're going to go helicopter mode. Trying to get all the way to the back here, the 18. Looks like David Anderson, one of the cars that got shot out of the hot dog bun here. Will this throw a caution? I don't believe so, as it got sent out below the preferred racing line here. Going to have to go manual mode to see what happened. Mark out of Myrtle Beach. Come on, work with me here. And again, nothing registering in timing and scoring right now. And it's a 50-50 shot when you do this. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. However, we stay green. However, for 2 drivers near the rear with the gear, and I'm pretty sure that was David Anderson and Mark Royce. They have their work cut out for them. The good news is the silver lining. Still a lot of laps left to be ran here. The only downside is getting a caution flag in this series is far few and in between. We average just 1.32 cautions over the winter camping. Making a lot of noise here in the early going. How about Sizzle Time, a.k.a. Matt Sizzler in the... Don't adjust your sets, folks. That is a Kia Stinger out there on the racetrack. Him and I used to be the Hemi brothers, and then he goes and he throws a Kia Turbo in there. But hey, still a heck of a wheel man behind or inside the cockpit of that race car. In fact, let's send it down trackside. Let's jump on board with Matt Sizzler. Again, this currently in that 26th place position. You see a lot of big names in the series right now back here. The main reason why we're jumping on board is look how treacherous this is, folks. Oh, he got yeeted. Kind of had to go below the yellow line there just to give a little breathing room. But watch how this racetrack just eats up this race car. Remember, no independent rear suspension. We have truck arms. Nothing like the modern car. You can see how Matt is having to fight that steering wheel. And this will wear you out. Got to get skinny here. 2 cars coming back up to speed, doing a great job keeping it below the double yellow line. We now send it back to the point where it's been all Andrew Phillips. Timing and scoring showing him as the 95 machine. However, that's going to be that Brian Vickers throwback 25 Monte Carlo on the bottom lane. And look who is fighting a way to the front. Kyle Gray in that 78. Donald Hickson Jr., another rocket in the Winter Series. He's starting to make some noise, running the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. 10 laps in, he doesn't mind. It seems to bother him. He'll go 3 wide. And how about Bryce? Already up 7 positions. He is now inside the top 10 for the first time this evening. Again, I want to take a moment to thank all of you for joining us here on Redline Racing Network as we kick off the 2025 campaign here in the Dynasty Racing League. I want to thank all of you that showed up for the Winter Series. I want to remind all the newcomers, smash the like button and ring the bell. This way you'll get notified each and every time the dynamic Gen 4 action is out there on the racetrack each and every Saturday night in prime time. You won't miss any of it right here on Redline Racing Network. We appreciate you being along for the ride thus far. How about Dylan McDermott? Or Murcott, excuse me, in the 83. I thought that was the Red Bull Rocket. But there's another Red Bull paint scheme out there this evening. I gotta tell you, I was very impressed with the new Oh, we have problems on the high side of the racetrack. Someone has put it into the cheese grater mode on the top shelf of the racetrack. And he got all the way back there quick, fast, and in a hurry. Point being, this car here, the way it's staggered, the way this thing tracks, the back of this race car, it's easy to get into the fence. It almost feels like the car gets sucked into the fence, but that's because of the skew that's built into this race car. And if you don't get a lot of seat time behind the wheel, if you like to run the high lane or run upstairs, that's something that you got to prepare for. And it gets tricky, especially for the first handful of laps or so when you're out there on the racetrack, at least for me. Dylan Glazer doing all the heavy lifting behind Gray, as we have a new foursome at the front on the top shelf of the racetrack. Phillips, just like last week, calm, cool, and collective, just doing his thing right now out there as he controls that bottom lane. Ooh, Hickson Jr. got shuffled to the outside there. He's going to hemorrhage a couple spots there in that DEI Throwback 8 machine. Great looking paint scheme. During the winter season, he ran the black 8. Now he's got the traditional red 8. And call it nostalgic, call it what you will, but that is still one of the best paint schemes, I think, throughout the course of NASCAR history. It's great to see that Budweiser number 8 back on the track. And how about JRM, or Junior Motorsports? Going to be fielding a car this year, the Daytona 500. Going to feature this past season's Xfinity Series champion, Justin Allgaier, behind the wheel. I'm sure they have high expectations coming up here. In fact, they're running the practice right now for the Clash NASCAR season right around the corner. It's already here, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your eye on that 2 machine. Throwing it back to Rusty Wallace there, or Kurt Busch. Pick your poison. Pretty sure that's the Rusty Wallace version of it, though. As he's up 7 positions. In fact, him and his teammate out of the ALR camp, both up 7 positions respectively as they control that 8th and 9th place position. DJ Daniels starting to make some noise. As you remember, he started back in the next county over out in no man's land. And he has churned 17 positions. Not 7, not 10, 17. And that's good for the second biggest mover of the race. You guessed it, folks. Biggest mover, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, TBB, in that 88 machine. You know, if you could bet on this race in DraftKings Sportsbook, that's a driver that would definitely be in my lineup tonight, would be the 88. I'm also going to go with DJ Daniel in the 29 ride. How about the 5 of Bryce? And perhaps one of these newcomers. In fact, this field's so good, star-studded, you really can't go wrong with just about any of these guys can win it. And that's the beauty
I just about shit myself, Samuel.
DJ might have to come down pit road for a wet nap and some scented candles, as they got up close and personal out there on the racetrack. But hey, that's the magic. That's the beauty of plate racing. You put a car here, anyone can win it. Everyone has an equal chance. And if you have a little bit of lady luck on your side and trends go the right way for you, there's a good chance you can wind up here in victory lane. Is restrictor plate racing, the great equalizer, the one place everyone feels like they have a chance to go out there and contend. And that's why you see some of the best high-octane thrilling action throughout the course of history at these plate tracks. Ooh, 3 wide here. This is not a good spot for the number 3 to be in. Doing a fantastic job. DJ right behind him, too. Was curious if DJ was going to try to slingshot to the outside of the racetrack here, or if he would just exercise a little bit of patience here and wait and let things materialize in front of him, and that's exactly what he did. However, later in the race, folks, that's going to be a different story. Everyone's still chasing the G-Mac insurance machine, that Monte Carlo. 2 Chevrolets on the bottom. Then you have the Affleck 99 Carl Edwards throwback. And I do not want to invoke the broadcaster's curse on this man. But how about the 5 ride? Continues to climb and churn positions. Basically has come up through the field with DJ Daniel. However, DJ has garnished a lot more positions. However, these 2 drivers look for perhaps the 5 and 29 to work together later. And how about Mad Max in the 96? You know, this guy was a newcomer to kick off the Winter Series campaign, and he'll be the first to tell you this Gen 4 car, it's not about getting in there, logging in that simulator, strapping. Oh, we got big problems out there on the racetrack as we got a mangle of race cars. Bryce going up and over X Games mode, getting about 10 feet of air. He's going to get clipped, go over. He's going to do a fakey 540 as the bottom of the racetrack turns into a scrapyard. What in the world happened? Oh my. Let's go back here to the Redline Racing Network instant replay.
Hey,
see if we can figure out what went wrong here.
Hey, TBB, do you got your mic on?
Oh, we already got smoke flying fast and furious here. Let's bring this back a little bit. This many cars, it probably will give me a little bit of a tantrum here, but that's
hey, 88,
okay.
Can you see how killed I am? Am I bad, or?
Keep your eye there on the 28 of Spencer Tart. That Jimmy Spencer's throwback.
I didn't hit much, but I still hit.
Oh, it's happened way up in front of him. Oh my goodness. Bryce goes up and over DJ Daniel in it. He has a moderate...
Thank you, though, 88. Appreciate it.
He has a moderate amount of sheet metal damage there. His tires are still on that 29 machine. Looks like it's pointed straight, but he does have some
Chris.
sheet
I didn't hit anything hard.
Take a look at this
there
as we
was
send
like
it
not
up
shit
now
I could do in
to
that situation.
The 55 is going to go with a 2-car tango there. Come back up, clobber the 8. and everyone's going to check up. And when that happens, you start getting
got
slammed in
43
the business
seconds.
end of the race car, and that's what really sets this thing ablaze. Big time hit there.
Yeah, might as well.
DJ continues to pinball off other cars as Bryce goes highlight reel mode there in
I
the
don't know
5.
what the hell they were doing, dude. Somebody just got turned.
It looked like a push gone wrong or a bump trap gone wrong here. Let's jump on board now. Let's pull this back. We're going to have to go manual again. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to jump on board with our in-race reporter here, DJ Daniel, here in just a second.
We're not going to go a lap down, are we? Check the left sides. Just left sides.
Now jumping on board here with DJ Daniel. You can see all the smoke. Visibility very
off.
limited, and he gets popped in the back. That shoots him down to the flatlands. This is going to be a ferocious sight. Big time shot right to the face as the 5 goes. Man, every time we look at this replay a little more in depth, the 5's wild ride just becomes a little bit more epic at the same time. I know not what he wanted, but hey, if you're going to go out in style. DJ Daniel able to grab a gear and back underway. There's a ton of cars involved in this one.
Hey.
18, perhaps 19 cars involved. So we now transition back to the live side of things. Multiple cars in their pits.
Damn.
Is pit road buddy. Because as pit road becomes the hottest place out there on the racetrack. Let's see if we can dial up our in-race reporter here, DJ Daniel.
Yeah, you were behind me, and I was trying to make sure we didn't wreck. They kept stopping in front of us.
DJ, Matt up in the booth, you got a copy there, bud?
Yes, sir.
Man, the big one has happened early here at Talladega. We went on board for the ride with you. That was wild. What'd you see out there?
That was time for me to go buy a daggone lottery ticket. That's what. I don't know how I didn't hit anything.
Yeah, I thought for certain your car was going to be ready for the scrapyard, upon first look at it. But, I mean, you were doing everything you possibly could, holding on for the ride. And somehow you come out of there with just some bumps and bruises in the sheet metal. The car's still driving straight and got all the power under the hood still.
Yeah. Old 29 Goodwrench Chevrolet's running good right now. I think we'll be able to get her back to the front.
What was the track conditions like out there? You started deep in the field. How'd the car feel, and how was it out there in the draft?
It's like riding a bull, just like I told you last week.
Well, that's the one thing I like about you, DJ. You're not going to sugarcoat it. You're going to say it like it is. And we'll let you get back to the bull ring out there at speeds of over 200 miles an hour. We'll be checking in with you again here in a little bit.
All right, appreciate you, man.
Fans,
enjoy the show.
That's right. Got to thank DJ Daniel for being our featured in-race reporter here this evening. The one place it hasn't been hot and heavy is at the front of this piece. Andrew Phillips, Kirby Captua in second. Danny Rogers, some of the newcomers, your dual winner, and Samuel Carter, Matt Sisler up 29 positions. Hello, I see you. Green flag back in the air once again, and that's a very erratic looking start. As this field is all sorts of discombobulated. And again, with the amount of cars affected there in that last caution, trying to get around this, 2-mile plus racetrack here at Daytona, is everyone now getting back up to speed? Everyone still chasing Phillips. Oh, Mad Max about got ran over like a redheaded stepchild. He gets put up into the fence. That Dodge got cabooted. He'll remember that. There's now Kirby takes his time at the front. New leader. Up 2 positions. I mean, he has had a rock-solid performance here during speed weeks. Well, another one of the new wave drivers. Oh, the Red Bull Rocket here, going to throw it out to the high side of the racetrack. That necessarily probably not going to work. You got to have help unless he plans on throwing an extremely aggressive side draft, and he does. Oh, my. Sizzler's vibing with it, so he's going to send the Stinger up to the top shelf. He's going to join the forces there on the high side, see if they can generate a run. But it's going to take probably a little more than 2 cars up there. Ooh, the one thinking about possibly going up there. And he is going to go to the top shelf. So clearly, we're starting to see that upper deck of the racetrack coming into play now. It's a 2x2 side-by-side affair at the front of this thing. Ooh, that one had to throw it in there hard. He almost overset it and came down and clocked the 25. He was able to get back under control there in just a nick of time. All this going on now as we work lap 27 of the scheduled 100 here for the DRL season kickoff opener here from Daytona. Dylan in the 83, up 20 positions now. Going to carry the torch for the first time here this evening. You know, this first pack of cars here, because of the way that just restart came into fruition. You're going to have about, let's see, who is that? Mad Max there. That 96 machine, he's going to be picking up the caboose here in this pack. And then you have to go back to this pack, the second group of cars being led by James Pandolf from Bad Luck Racing. And that's not what you want out of the 28 there. I believe that is Spencer Tart. You don't want to be up there side drafting right now when you're trying to chase down a group of cars in front of you. Typically, you want to be single file, lean and mean, packed tight and orderly on top of each other. That's going to give you the fastest lap times around this place. So you can try and go catch that lead pack of cars. Perhaps maybe he was overheating, decided to cycle to the back, but you can see how that kind of unorganized or just disrupted this group of cars, or we'll call it Group B right now. DJ Daniel in that pack as well. Your in-race reporter, who used all of his 9 lives up in that first one. Pandolf has a great dance partner behind him in the 29. You know, the other thing right now is, even though it's, you know, the action starts to dial down on the racetrack during this point in time of the race, working lap number 30, you know, these drivers are learning a lot, you know, because hey, at the end of this, it's going to be, I need a friend, I need a dance partner, a battle buddy, and I need it now. And who is you going to work with? Well, sometimes it's little things like right now that you can pick up on. Your spotter, your teammate trying to cut deals, make deals, find out who you're going to go with. The other things that can happen behind the scenes when you start to have a little bit, I don't want to use the word lull, but where the octane isn't necessarily overflowing out there on the racetrack with just heart-throbbing, gut-wrenching moments. Well, we got somebody off in the grass once again. I don't think he wanted to park there. Thought maybe that was minor, but not the case. Pixon Jr. still in his pit, and he went out with a bang, but Florida's iRacer, Bryce. That car is probably KO'd for the evening. Very unfortunate turn of events. Now here's the caution flag. There we go. A little bit of a delayed yellow here. So already we are exceeding the average cautions that we had all winter series. And if you go back to their last full season campaign, again, they were only averaging about a very similar number. I think maybe it was a tenth or two difference, but still very odd to see 2 caution flags here. However, we do have a larger field size, which is great to see. And everyone's still trying to feel everyone out. Remember, this is 2 different groups of racers. You have the next gen, or not next gen, the next generation of DRL stars, and then you have some of these seasoned veterans. And with 1 race under your belt, you're not going to have the chemistry and just all the little things that go into making great league racing accomplished just yet here in a very young season, as that iRacing.com pace car now picks up the field. Under caution here at Daytona, we're going to step aside, pay some bills, but we'll be back with all the high-octane action right here from Daytona. Stick around. Race fans, good evening. Welcome back to Daytona Beach, Florida, as you are locked in to the DRL season opener here from the Big House. Good evening and welcome in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Matt Metler at the helm. DJ Daniel, your in-race reporter there on the racetrack. And also, I'm going to invite any of the drivers that have potentially wrecked out of this race, if they'd like to join me up here in the broadcast booth, give me their rendition or their version of what happened out there. If they have anyone to shout out, it's an open door tonight. Try and do something a little different, shake it up, if you will, as we get ready to go back to the green flag side of things. 37 drivers took the initial green flag. We do have a couple, unfortunately, that could not continue after that just absolute smearing of race cars out there. The big one kicked off here early, and I think that happened early enough where we could see it happen again here as we're ready to go back to green flag racing here. There goes that iRacing.com pace car. Here we go. A lot of lap cars in front of your leader. That's going to be the 99 of Rogers. In fact, let's set it down trackside with him. You're on board with the leader. How is the 5 back out there in competition? Oh, that's not good. He just got poke checked by the 96. Three wide just in front of him. He has the best tickets for this on the whole racetrack, and I trust me, folks, he does not want to be here right now. He gets a big-time run, has to lift. This is, ooh, we're starting to do the Indy snake up there. That's not a good thing. Hold her steady, boys. I know this car's a Banshee. Murcott going to take over that point position now. Tell you what, different driver in that Red Bull car, but no matter who seems to fill the shoes of that Red Bull machine, they automatically become the Red Bull Rocket. Started in the rear with the gear, but there's another guy. As we slow things down here once again, is that caution flag back in the air once again. This will give some of these drivers a very rare opportunity once again to work on their race cars under under yellow flag conditions, excuse me. It's a rarity to see a caution. And we've kind of had a much different look and approach to this race than we had compared to the dual races. Matt Sizzler, 32 positions to the good. An incredible opening stint in here for the driver. I can't believe I'm going to say it. Inside of that Kia Stinger. Couple takers here on pit road. Kirby hanging tough in P4. Gary Farnsworth Jr. up 23 positions, having a great run here in the early going. Resides in that 5th place position. Nothing runs like a deer. That was the case in the duels. And there is the 97 of Samuel Carter, P6. DJ Daniel, even after that big-time scare on the racetrack, still in the top 10, hunkered down in 8th, and he's got Taylor Butcher Benjamin behind him, and your pole sitter and leader still of the most laps of competition thus far, Andrew Phillips, in that 10th place position in the GMAC machine. Let's see if we can dial up our in-race reporter here. DJ, you got a copy, Matt, up top in the booth.
Yes, sir.
I need some help from you, brother. Timing and scoring out to lunch on that last caution. What happened out there on the racetrack that caused the yellow to pop?
I seen a wreck behind me, but I thought they were going to wreck in front of me too.
I did too. I mean, that was probably the worst spot to be in. You know, when you restart, when you have those cars with a little bit of damage in front of you and they are fighting for dear life to stay on the race or to stay on the lead lap or prevent themselves from going additional laps down. What was that like in the eye of the storm there moments ago?
I'm gonna say one thing. Gary has a lot more balls than I have because they looked like they were gonna wreck, and he just stormed right up in there, no fear at all. The balls of titanium.
He's saying he's got some oversized lug nuts on his race car. And DJ has taken note of that. And, DJ, I would say you're one of those guys in clutch moments. I mean, you will let it send full set. I mean, you will let it rip tater chip in the words of Cletus McFarland. So if you're making that type of a statement, I completely understand what you mean by the intensity, the situation down there on the racetrack. We'll let you go as you get ready to get back to it. Good luck the rest of the way, my friend.
Appreciate it. I don't know how it works in your streaming stuff, but I have my camera on, by the way.
Unfortunately, I don't have a software plugin to throw that on the screen. You and I can work on that if we want to do it next week. A couple little things we have to do to make that work, buddy, but that's something we can incorporate.
Heck yeah.
It's DJ now. Gets the gloves back on. Gonna reach up there, pull the belts tight one more time for good measure, as it has been treacherous out there on the racetrack at the point with some of those cars fighting to stay alive in this race. I still can't figure out how that 5 car is back out there in competition. I mean, you saw what happened. It looked like a member of the Nitro Circus. 540 X Games style out there going big. I mean, he took the Evil Knievel line. The things he does out there on the racetrack just sometimes don't make sense. There he is. That 5 car. Sending it back up here to the front. Lights out on that iRacing.com pace car, which means we're going back to the boogie here, this time by at the line. Murcott, Rogers, Sizzler, Captua, Gary Farnsworth Jr. round out the top 5. Green flag back in the air. Grab the biscuits, punch the metal. Let's do this thing. Murcott has that loud pedal mashed to the floorboards. Great restart there. And he's going to have help from Rogers there in the 99 as well. And look at Sizzler trying to dial it up on the high side of the racetrack. Big run coming for him. Let's go on board with Sizzle time. Out of Auburn Hills, Michigan. Started this race way up in the Virginias. That's pretty much what it equates to. Is he is up 33 positions. He has taken himself out of the Fury up to the point and trying to keep that 93 out of any potential chaos that may strike. In his rearview mirror, the best way to do that, keep yourself at the point of this thing or as close to the front as you possibly can. As Sizzler now battles for the lead going into the turns 3 and 4 complex. These drivers up front doing an excellent job. Even staying racked and stacked in the draft over these bumps, those ruts. You know, this car, you know, this body, the way it, this chassis is going to articulate a lot. You're going to get some body roll. And it's easy when that body is doing the jig down there to think that you're also, you know, moving on the racetrack as far as left to right. Just like that right there with a 99. got a little tight there when he hit one of those bumps and slid up the racetrack a little bit. When you're side drafting like that, if it happens, you don't have much room for a margin of error. New fast lap of the race. Gary doing some Donaldson out there. 44.70. Gary the Rocket Donaldson. Oh, Jesus. Hold on to it. Boy, this is going to hurt. Samuel Carter just knocked every single tooth out of his... Oh, my. That was a heavy hit. Caution once again here, showing its ugly face at Daytona. We now pick up Samuel Carter as he somehow got sent down to the flatlands. I understand he's the John Deere car. However, those Goodyear Eagles, those Dr. Feelgoods typically don't work very well in the grass in the infield. Send it down trackside with him, and let's roll this back. He was able to keep it off of the fence. I thought he was on a collision course with it. You can hear all the rocks, debris hitting the underside of that race car. Getting a report here, the 5 may have been involved as, oh, here's Bryce off in the grass here once again, as it has been dicey for him here in the early going, as he's already taken flight once this evening and now decides he wants to test out the Evel Knievel line here through the grass. As we go ahead and roll this back. Eight times out of 10, folks, when you come off the racetrack there, that car is going to just, it's like a magnet getting stuck into that, or sucked into that retaining wall there, that barrier that shields that race car from coming up into the infield. As you can see the cars, the fans there, that is replica of real life. How he was able to just will that race car to come back towards the racing surface. Incredible piece of driving there from the 5 of Bryce. So we now cycle back to the live side of things here.
I didn't know if we would be ghosted or not.
Murcott continues to lead here. Matt Sizzler has made the climb up the ladder, 33 positions. Danny Rogers in 3rd. The silent assassin, Kirby, out of Georgia, resides in 4th. Gary Farnsworth Jr. rounds out your top 5, up 23 positions. David, one of my favorite Andersons in the 19th, currently owns that 6th place position, while 7th belongs to the 10 of Tyler Hayden. TBB in the 88, second biggest mover of the race, up 29, vibing right now, feeling it out there on the racetrack. Andrew Phillips, still marred back in traffic. That GMAC car awful strong when he is out in front, but now perhaps dealing with some of that dirty air for the first time, really, all of Speed Weeks in here in today's race. Dakota Osborne going to round out the top 10. And going to shout out here the master of chaos, Kenny Thompson, in 11th in the 22. under caution here at Daytona. Do want to take a moment to thank all of our network partners and sponsors. Black Magic, of course, the official custom schemes and custom graphics provider here at Redline Racing Network. If you guys want to put a new vibe in your ride, get out of the static and go see the guys at Black Magic. You'll get a 100% authentic, one-of-a-kind design. And remember, it's good for 210s out there on the racetrack. And let them know DRL sent you. That is the one and only Black Magic. How about Brandon Broby out of the Northeast, New Hampshire? Holds on to that 15th place position. Dave Acacia from the Killer Bees machine. Big fan of Matt Kenseth, especially during his days at Roush in that paint scheme. As we get ready to go back to the green flag side of things here at Daytona. Grab a gear and stand on it. We're back at it once again here at the Big House. As we come back up to speed here once again. Just a few laps shy of the halfway point of this race. Let's go on board here with Kirby. We gave a little bit of a shove there to the 99 on entry. As he punts him in the business end, the back door. Here comes another shot. I'll tell you what, that 99 doing a great job there of holding these pushes. Another thing to mention here, this Gen 4 car, before a recent update, I think 3 or 4 months ago, it could have been longer, you even thought about pushing someone in front of you with this car, forget about it, not happening. The front of this race car would virtually lift the back of the car off the ground. Bad things would happen, but since the update, it's a little more manageable, and over time these drivers have gotten more comfortable pushing out there. But before, it was usually ended really bad, as Matt Sizzler now works the bottom on his quest to command and carry the torch here, as we now take another lap off of the books. We now work lap 48 of the scheduled 100. Tell you what, these cars are a rocking that dirty air, those solid rear axles, the bumps, everything working against you here, putting you through the gauntlet inside the cockpit of this race car. '99 having some... Oh, Dave Acacia off the pace. Did he blow it up? Let's jump on board here real quick and see if he did. Steering wheel is right in the way of the needle on that tachometer. I believe it is still running, though, as you would see that tachometer flashing a not so pretty red color. You see, he's going to bring it down onto pit road here. Oh, I take that back. He does not have any power. Something has went wrong under the hood of Dave Acacia's Ford out there on the racetrack. No fast repairs at your disposal. And that could be the end of the line for Dave here in the season opener of the 2025 campaign. As it's Murcott, Rogers, Sizzler, Taylor Butcher Benjamin now inside the top 5. David Anderson, Farnsworth, Kenny Thompson, Tyler Hayden, and Andrew Phillips inside of the top 10. You can see we're getting broken up into packs and groups of cars here. And that's very common given the trends of the race that we have seen this far over the course to the halfway point. Those cars that don't have any damage or minimal damage are typically going to be faster. As you know, at Daytona, Talladega, it's all about aero and having the least amount of drag as possible. The best way to do that is keep it clean, if you can. Also, the talent inside the cockpit of these cars certainly helps as well, as you have about the first top 10. So you have 10 cars here. Brandon Broby there as well, as he's the second car, or tail car, the high lane. Then you have to go back 6.15 seconds. The driver out of Louisville, Kentucky. Carter also finds himself working with this pack of cars. In 13th, Osborne as well. Buzzy Mongol having a great run here. That Tony Stewart inspired number 20 machine, as he rounds out the top 15. Don't count out that Miller Deuce either. And that 5 continues to charge on. You know, when I seen his record, it reminded me of Dale Earnhardt Sr. When he went up and over at Talladega, the car came back to rest on its tires. Initially went in the ambulance, looked at the car, asked one of the track workers to see, hey, if that will start up. It started up. He got out of the ambulance, drove it back to the pits, and drove it to a scheduled distance. As Bryce is trying to do is something similar here, as he continues to find ways to keep that number 5, even though it's beaten and battered out there on the racetrack. He is giving it the good fight. James Pandolf in the 74, holding on to the top 30 by the skin of the wrap on that Chevrolet, as he's working with the Camel machine just in front of him. Pandolf was last down pit road on lap 36. And I believe he is the last car running on the racetrack right now, and he is. So already, 7 cars that took the initial green flag, unfortunately not with us, just after the halfway point in competition. This is Murcott and Sizzler that have teamed up, Eaton on the bottom. There's the 99 of Rogers, and Taylor Butcher Benjamin as well in that 88. Pennsylvania in the house, always representing, always a force here in this league. Oddly enough, one thing we haven't seen tonight is green flag pit stops. And typically that's pretty much a given, a guarantee it's going to happen. Ooh, almost bump draft there that got a little too close. They may have touched ever so slightly coming off the corner. Sizzler now going to give the business to the 83, trying to shove him ahead of that high lane. However, stout competition upstairs as well. You know, right now, if I'm out here in this if I'm out here on the racetrack right now and I'm in this lead pack of cars, I'm going to want to try and put as much real estate between myself and the rest of the competition. And even in a 2x2 configuration. They are still a tenth or a little more faster a lap than that next group of cars behind them. However, these guys here do have the numbers. If they got single file, though, I think they would really check out. It's another caution not guaranteed here in DRL. That is for certain. We continue to keep it focused on Taylor, Butcher, Benjamin, and company here in this lead pack. Checking in the YouTube.com live chat. I see we got 34 of you guys watching live right now. We certainly appreciate that. Sound off. Let us know who you're rooting for. We'll shout you out and get your driver some additional screen time. Joshua King in here rooting on Robbie Minor. We appreciate him stopping in on the broadcast side of things. And once again, you got a driver you want to shout out, or you got something you want to say, get over the airwaves, drop it in the chat, and I will do my best to get that out to all of you here on Redline Racing Network during DRL's coverage here tonight. 59 laps in the books of the scheduled 100. We're going to step aside, do our first all-out wide-open coverage. Don't worry, you're not going to miss a thing. Keep it right here on Redline Racing Network. Welcome back to Redline Racing Network, as caution has found a way to reign supreme once again here over the Speedway, as it has slowed things down to a snail's pace. Pardon me. As Kirby is going to blow past the pace car. He was so laser locked and focused. He was dialed. He said, what do I need to use my binders here for? It's Daytona. Takes it down there to the low lane. Actually, down to the flatlands, I should say. Is that pace car going to pass him on by? Does not want to get a penalty here, a black flag of any kind. Especially with the type of run he is having. This will definitely give us another opportunity to check in with our official in-race reporter, Mr. Excitement, Matt up in the booth. Got a copy there, boss. DJ, I believe, attacking pit road, so he could be a little busy right now here at the moment. So
Did you say something, Matt?
Yeah, Matt up in the booth, man. Sorry to bother you. I know you're probably trying to get onto pit road right now. Just wanted to check back in with you while we have an opportunity. How is the car post that incident out there on the racetrack? I know you've been having some opportunities, which is rare in this series, to bring it down pit road. You working on it, or are you just trying to be patient right now and wait to make your move towards the front of this thing?
Well, these restarts have been absolute chaos, so we went a lap down there, but somehow got the lucky dog, but we weren't the first car a lap down, so I don't know. iRacing glitches just saved me.
Hey, as we always say, DJ, even when you and I team up, because I also drive for you, DDR, on Wednesday nights. You know, sometimes you got to have lady luck on your side a little bit at these plate races, in these types of arenas, this theater. And hey, it sounds like you caught a big-time break as we're watching you now send that 29 Kevin Harvick-inspired machine down to pit road. How do you think this race is going to trend the rest of this race? And to your point about these restarts, as a driver, what can you do to combat that? Or is it basically more of a majority effort here to fix those issues on the restarts?
It's such chaos with all the lap cars up here, and where everybody's strung out, it's like everybody just stops in front of you, and then it just separates the pack. It's honestly no fun.
You can hear
It's like you got to run the guy over in front of you just to go anywhere, you know?
I hear you, DJ, and it looks like that's what's happening up here in the booth. But again, we're not using, the most modern NASCAR rules and formats here. We're in the Gen 4 era here, so those lap cars are going to get cycled to the front of the leaders at times, and that's really making these restarts treacherous and being a handful. I can hear the frustration in your voice. You're doing a heck of a job out there, man. Just keep it up. Stay confident. Stay patient. And I think you'll be all right when all is said and done. We'll let you get back to it. Thanks for joining me up here in the booth.
No, thank you.
And again, this is a new animal, especially for drivers that may not necessarily compete a lot, in the early 2000s era, where you cycle, lap traffic to the rear of the field. Now they're having it right in front of their face, and it's a new enemy they're having to deal with out there on the racetrack. Not only do they have the cars they're battling with for position, they also have those race cars in front of them doing everything they can, fighting for their life to not go additional laps down. Is DJ now going to come back around here and pick up the field as we're under caution once again here for incident at Daytona? We're going to do something a little different. We're going to jump in. Hey guys, Matt up in the booth. I just bombed your booth. Left the back door wide open. While you're under caution here, Bryce, I got to ask you, man, how is that 5 car still out there on the racetrack I mean, you went full-blown Nitro Circus X Games mode out there with a 540 in the air. How is that 5 still out there turning laps?
The 5 car is not available right now. He's having issues.
Copy that, guys. Well, hey, you told me to stop in and remind you. We're all counting on it. Doing my part. We'll let you guys get back to it. Keep putting on a hell of a show. Appreciate you being
Appreciate
out.
it, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Always appreciate the stars and studs over there at ALR, as they always bring it every time they're out there on the racetrack. Green flag back in the air. Let's do this thing.
All right.
We're going to leave them be, and we're going to join back up into the broadcast booth. Here we go. Sometimes that is a loaded gun bombing into a hot and heavy team chat. You never know what you're going to stumble in on, but they asked me to do it before the top of the broadcast, so that's my out. Oh, my good Lord. Hold on to it, fellas. Way to do the mad scatter once again, popping off in front of DJ. He's still going to have problems. He's going to jump on. Oh, my! That was a depleter served up of epic portions. Thank God this is a simulator. Is that driver and race car is going to get rearranged every which way but Wednesday. He's going to need a new fire suit at minimum. Watch this hit. Are you kidding me right now? Hopefully his force feedback isn't turned up to 100 on a direct drive wheel. We're going to have to engage the flux capacitor here, folks, and just bear with me. Feast your eyes on this. You see the 5 car there as well. Watch Mad Max. Whew. A 1080 McTwist. Up all 4 tires up off the ground. I think I counted 2 or 3 complete rotations in the air. Who is that? I'll try to get a different angle of this. Well, I know the 96 of Mad Max is involved there, so that'll get us a little bit closer. That was probably the most violent crash I have seen after the main incident on the racetrack. So now we're back up here in the spotter stand. Here we go. Now remember, this initially pops off. This is going to be like a 3-piece incident. I'm going to go trackside now with Mad Max. You can see the 2, 3, 4 cars squirt out of the 2 come down the high side. One goes up to the fence. Thinks he's through it. He has very limited visibility right now. You can see a little more smoke and another incident popping off in front of him. You can see him lifting as those RPMs start to drop down. And somebody is going to get laid out right in front of him. The 71 of Nick Robinson gets wiped off the face of the earth. Absolutely incredible stuff here. This is going to be a wild ride. Disclaimer, if you have motion sickness, before I play this back, this is going to be chaotic, folks. If this ain't enough, oh, he had no idea it was coming. He took off and seen Dale. All of this transpiring on the racetrack, and that is going to cycle Taylor Butcher Benjamin to the lead. So we now go back to the live side of things here on Redline Racing Network. Is the 88. It's taken him more than 50% of the scheduled distance in this race, but he has done it. From virtually worst to first, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, the second all-time winningest driver in DRL history, if I'm not mistaken. Currently leads here in the season opener at Daytona. Pace car getting some good use this evening. And as you heard from DJ Daniel just a few moments ago, the lap traffic, these wounded race cars that are restarting in front of the leaders, really disrupting the flow of operations on these restarts. And the big reason why we're seeing, these cars really scattered all over the place at times. I shouldn't say scattered all over the place, but smaller groups of cars, which you would typically see after a series of green flag pit stops, or two for that matter. Lights go out on the Ford Mustang that leads the field right now down the backstretch. Going to get ready to thunder off here into the turns 3 and 4 complex. Kirby, Dylan, Andrew, David, Kenny. I feel like we say their last names all the time by default. Sometimes why not change it up? They're going to get ready for their next installment of the battle at the point. As we await that charge down pit road from the Mustang. There he goes. Green flag back in the air once again. Taylor Butcher Benjamin puts it through the floorboards, climbs up the H pattern, and these glorious V8s come roaring back to life here one more time. 3 wide, smartly diffused, and now the front 3 are single file. Ooh, look at those cars doing the jig, doing the dance up the racetrack. As we're now getting back up to speed. Oh, don't get caught in the sucker hole. Ooh, Kirby got lucky. When you hesitate like that, or you start to make a move, and you think better of it, and you stop, usually that's when you get eat up, shoot up, and spit out. You get a one-way ticket to the back. And the black hole that is the middle. Very fortunate. Caputa didn't get the Buddha to the back. DJ Daniel still grinding it out there. In the 29 machine. Through all the adversity, the restarts. The near disastrous moments out there on the racetrack, he has found a way to knock on the back door of the top 5. And as we're quickly approaching 20 laps to go, this is when you're going to see some of these drivers that have purposely hung out in the back start to make their presence known at the front of this piece and remind these other guys it's not over until it's over. Was that Gary Donaldson that got a piece of the grass? It was. So that's going to send him all the way back. He may now lose the draft. Is not so fast. Andrew Phillips says that he's got a new challenger in Matt Sisler. During his reign at the front, during the opening stages of this race, Matt Sisler was still in the trenches, in the rear, in the back of the pack. Now he has to contend with this 93, this ferocious Kia. Oh, don't Kevin LePage the field. Hold it down there, buddy. Got worried. If you don't know what I mean by Kevin LePage the field, just go to YouTube and type in Kevin LePage, and we'll let the video speak for itself. Great line racing up here at the front. Stars of the dual races to kick things off here at Speed Weeks. Oh, don't come down, don't come down. Tell you what, folks, it gets strenuous, it gets stressful up here in the booth, especially when you got a whole herd of cars coming at you 15 to 20 miles an hour faster than you are out there in single car formation. As we're now 3 wide. As that Aflac Ford is getting the squeeze from the top shelf of the racetrack. Oh! Again, that a byproduct of 3 wide here at Daytona. And again, the more modern version of this racetrack on this servers, it's a lot smoother. Makes it a little bit more manageable when you try to go 3 wide. But this legacy version, the bumps just, that little bit of margin that you had for air, it shrinks quick, fast, and in a hurry through these corners. And we almost had another one pop off there. As he answered a prayer and caught that race car and kept it pointing in the right direction. Let's hop out outside the top 10. Going in here on that 14th place position, now 50. Marcus Chaffin in the 2. It has been rather rowdy for him out there on the racetrack at times. However, he has done a great job of keeping that car out of harm's way. It's certainly been popping off around him at times, but he continues to carry the torch and charge on. As he holds on to that 15th place position. And with the lead pack of cars. Still plenty of time left in this one. 22 laps remaining. Look at DJ Daniel. He is now hooked up with Phillips. DJ said, hold on to it, buddy. I will push you to the promised land. Off the nose of this good red Chevrolet. "21 laps remaining here from Daytona in the season opener from DRL Dynasty Racing League. We're going to step aside for the final time, take care of our partners, then we'll be back with continuous non-stop coverage all the way to the checkered flag and pre-race and wrap up Daytona. Stick around. Don't go anywhere.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to Redline Racing Network as we're getting down to the knit and grit of this race. Matt Sisler has done it. He has gone from deep in the trenches in the back of the pack to start this race, and he now finds himself being shown as the race leader there momentarily, but he now leads the bottom lane as DJ Daniel has come to life here at Daytona. You heard the frustration out of his voice earlier in this race. He is right on schedule as he now runs P2 in the outside lane, currently being scored in that 4th place position. As it's just 13 laps to go here from Daytona Beach, Florida. As it runs right now. And again, a caution flag, take everything I'm talking about. If it happens, crumple it up, throw it out the window. Oh no. Get skinny, boys. 3 wall. There it goes. Here we go. Broadcaster's curse. I'm sorry, guys. That was not part of the plan. Samuel Carter in it. Yeah, this just went ugly. Oh, the 99 was having such a good run. Danny Rogers. Kenny Thompson involved. Multiple cars involved here. That lap car was doing everything he could to try and get down. Get low, in the words of Little John. He just couldn't get low enough. This is going to make things interesting. I just had to say it. I know what you're saying. I'll take the blame for it. I don't even want to look at this. You can see we already have one car on a trajectory that he shouldn't be. That 45-degree angle, let's roll it. Oh my. He caught a howitzer to the face. We're going to wind this back a little bit further than what the replay is giving us, and here's the reason why, because this all started. You got to have a dance partner out here at Talladega. Keep your eye to the very far left of the screen, about 7 to 10 car lengths up in front of this main pack. You're going to see a lone car just coming into the frame, or visible in the frame, I should say. As we roll this back, we're going to go at quarter speed here. Try to force the camera over there to the front, just off the nose of the 93. There we go. He's going to see the pack coming. He's going to try to get down. Now, if he comes off of that banking, that is flat. That's going to upset the race car, so he's going to end up squeezing the leaders here, and it's going to go bad. Right there. And it is on from there. That's going to be a big-time shot. He does a keg stand. The 22 gets flow ridered right round. Samuel Carter up on two wheels.
Bryce, Gary, Dave, Donald, and Marcus, if you can join me after the race.
Going to be a couple more cars here. Some drivers with high expectations, high hopes.
Future plate races.
As the John Deere machine went for a wicked ride. Multiple drivers did here. And that may end them in their bid
And
for a win at Daytona prematurely here, as a late race caution is going to completely remap the face of this race.
We're still to go, Danny. If the field's not caught up,
Never a dull moment at Daytona. Just when you think you've seen it all, it is never over until it is over. Spencer Teal out on the racetrack, however, Danny Rogers, David Anderson, Kenny Thompson,
speaking of Discord, top 3 finishers.
Ralph, the senior version, all down on pit road. Split emotions out there on the racetrack right now for drivers like Phillips, Sizzler, DJ Daniel, Osborne, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. They didn't want to see this caution flag. That group of cars have separated themselves, and they were going to try to duke it out between them. Now, everyone is racked, stacked right back on top of each other, up close and personal. As we get ready to go, local track Friday night last chance qualifier shootout style to put race number 1 into the history books. As your pole sitter, Andrew Phillips, been writing all the right policies out there tonight on the racetrack as he leads in that G-Max sponsored machine. And it may not have a V8 under the hood, but it's got a twin turbo V6. Matt Sizzler in the Stinger, looking to bite the competition here. And the one guy that always knows how to fire up prime time. Hey, it is the nighttime after all. That's DJ Daniel in third. I know he is focused out there. We're going to let him do his thing, as I believe the lights should be going out on the pace car this time by. Chris James, currently up 25 positions in 5th. Dakota Osborne, similar story out of the 00 camp. Caputa continues to run in that 7th place position. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, having a great run here in 8th. Tyler Buzzy Mongold, round out your top 10. Then you have some of those drivers that were involved in this most recent incident. The 97 of Samuel Carter out of Alabama. Spencer Teal, driver who has been silent out there on the racetrack, not making a lot of noise, flying under the radar, kind of just doing what he needs to do. Shouting out the iconic Tim Richmond there in his profile photo. The driver who raced for Hendrick Motorsports there in the early days. Very unfortunate what happened to Tim, and ultimately sidelined a very promising NASCAR career. But during his time out there on the racetrack, he was electric, and that's not even the right word to describe Tim Richmond. That's one thing that we miss with this current youth movement in NASCAR. These drivers just don't have the personality. They don't have the profile that these drivers did back 10, 20, 30 years ago. I don't know if it's because of social media and just everyone hides behind a Twitter or a TikTok account and have it, but it's hard to get any emotion or excitement out of the new guys, the new crowd. Phillips going to take him back to the green flag here. It goes back in the air and back to the boogie. 7 laps to settle it here to open up the season. The 2025 campaign is it Sizzler working just behind Phillips, DJ Daniel. A very strong top 3 here. And then you have the newcomers, Murcott, Chris James, Dakota Osborne. And then the veteran, Taylor Butcher Benjamin in 8th. Daniel gonna get a big time push from the Red Bull Rocket. He said, hook up to me, buddy, send it. That G-Mac car is getting a big time push from Sizzler. This DJ stake committed to the high side. Does he come down to the bottom? And the dump and run. Oh my God. Oh, that race car was a mere inches from getting ripped off the face of that chassis. Wasn't necessarily dumped. I think that was a push. And I think he just said on the radio he got ran over as well. He may feel like that, but it's Daytona. It is under 10 laps to go. Give and take is out the window here. And if you throw a block, I'm not saying that's what he did here. I have to go back to the replay. But sometimes how you see it in these moments is a little bit different. Let's go back here and see what just completely shook Phillips, who is nonetheless pretty much ran a perfect race until this point. That's that G-Mac car we were talking about moments ago here. Let's go ahead and cue it up here and roll it back. Send this up to the eye in the sky here. And let's cue playback. Keep your eye on that G-Mac machine. He said on the radio, what do I do if I got ran over? He did not get ran over. He got pushed. This time his car didn't react how it did all the other times he took pushes this race, especially with the amount of times, how long he's been at the front. You're going to take a push to stay there. Obviously, he's just upset, and I get that. So we're going to wind the times back again, and we're going to go on board here with Matt Sizzler, his dance partner. Let's go on board with Sizzle time. This is at speed. Coming off of 4. I'm sorry, it's unfortunate and it stinks and it stings, and I've been in those situations, but Matt's doing the same thing he's been doing all race. I mean, those guys were working really good together. It's unfortunate. I get that. For whatever reason, Phillips's race car just did not take and receive that push how it did the prior, I don't know, 100, 150, 200, a lot of them. And I know Matt Sizzler, a very clean race car driver, have a lot of experience covering his iRacing league action. He races in a lot of leagues throughout the servers. And one thing I know about Matt Sizzler, he is a very straight up, honest, and respectful driver out there on the racetrack. He does not intentionally junk people. That is Daytona doing Daytona things at its finest, unfortunately. So we send the pace car out there one more time. We now go back to the live action here, coming out of replay. Phillips should be okay. And that car nearly met its maker by probably an inch and a half. He's got his work cut out for him, but he still has time. It's not over for him yet. Certainly is it a taller ask? Absolutely, but it could have been a lot worse there for the 25 on a freak deal. You know, we've seen cars there over the years just in that part of the racetrack. We could bump them the same way 1,000 times, but that one time, the car is going to do something completely erratic and not behave how it has previously, and I really believe that's what happened there in that case. So Phillips going to restart here in that 17th place position, inside the top 20 and still on the lead lap. At the front, Mr. Primetime himself, DJ Daniel. The last time I called one of his races, it was at Talladega, and he made that car 5 lanes wide for a thrilling finish. Here we go. 4 laps to go. Barney's got the green flag back in the air. Let's get back to the live action. And Sizzler over. No. This is painful. This is painful. I can't believe what I just see. I need a minute up here in the booth, guys. We'll keep it live. I'll be back momentarily. I gotta digest this.
It literally broke off and disconnected and went straight to neutral.
I've been there.
Yeah, my scan attack you should not recognize gears, so like if I went from second to third, it wouldn't recognize it, put me in neutral. I fixed that problem though.
I'm sorry, everybody. That's just absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever done.
So that put me over incident limit. That's kind of messed up, guys. Yep, I'm with you. I fought and clawed my way up here. It was a ping pong ball. Y'all do what you need to do, though. Can we clear that black flag for everybody or no?
Has anybody served that penalty and is out of contention because of it now? It's going to have to be all is fair type of situation.
I served it, but I'm in contention still, so.
I'm in forward, drop to the back and sold it.
Hey, Kenny, did you move down because you're down on power?
To do a full lap. No, I moved down because I bumped the guy in front of me, and I was had to hit the brakes, and it gave me a drive through.
Oh shit. Okay.
What was that, Buzzy?
If we come to in the pits or drop to the end, can we come into green to Silver drive-through, or do we need to do a lap on the?
It's tough to watch that, ladies and gentlemen, especially when a lot of these drivers have put together what I like to call a masterclass
Yeah.
effort out there on the racetrack,
Yeah,
and
I'm good with it. Be clear.
shades of different circumstances, but shades of what happened with Phillips. I understand we weren't up to speed there, but
22.
it's the end of the race. We're going to push just a little bit harder.
22.
You know, I mentioned earlier, before this update, you even barely breathed on the back of the car in front of you. You're picking the back of that race car up in the air. Coming down single digits, laps remaining. You have to turn up the intensity. You have to dial up the excitometer if you want to be in victory lane. And it's really easy to overstep that threshold and
Thanks, buddy.
push gone wrong.
Not gonna make it worth it.
I'm sorry to anybody.
Chances, hopes, and dreams up in a flame.
I apologize.
If I get to you, Marcus, I'm pushing you to win.
Hold your head high there, brother. That goes for all those guys that got taken out there over the course of this race. It's just plate racing. You love it when it goes well, and you hate it when it doesn't. This is going to set us up, I believe, for overtime. As this race will go, extra laps. So what's going to happen here, folks? So we're going to reload, re-rack the deck. We're going to take the checkered flag. Or the green flag, excuse me. Going to get back up to speed. If the leader comes around and makes it across the start-finish line, we are racing back to the checkered flag. Should trouble find its way on the racetrack and we see a yellow flag before the white flag, we're going to re-rack them, restack them, and do it again. I'll have to check for next week, but I think we get 2 attempts at it here in the Gen 4 series. As we now kick it into extra innings, going to overtime. And why not? It is Daytona after all.
Hit your slope.
Single file restart here. That will help. DJ Daniel going to be the control car. He is going to have the trigger. Chris James, Dakota Osborne, Taylor, Butcher, Benjamin, and Buzzy Mongold, your top 5. DJ needs to hit these shifts like he's drag racing a quarter mile as we got cars down to the flatlands behind him. The 13 goes down drift mode on the bottom. What a save, what a job. We send it back up here to the point. Here comes the run. DJ's going to block the high side of the racetrack. He's going to get a big time shove from the 20 machine. It's going to be Chris James. Yes, Chris James in that Home Depot machine. DJ driving more out of his rear view mirror now. He's going to have to try to throw it downstairs to block the run. How did he get that car down the racetrack? He's doing it again. He sends it up to the high lane now. He's going to make them wreck behind him until that big time block. And we have a fireball of Inferno behind him off of a block thrown by DJ Daniel. who refuses to lose this race. Now it's a drag race down the backstretch between himself and one of the best to do it in DRL history. DJ once again covers the spot, has an answer from the charge from Taylor Butcher Benjamin. This is like a battle with Hammer Time 2.0, except it is DJ Daniel this time. TBB pulls outside. Daniel tries to go up there, break his momentum, and he does, and DJ Daniel is gonna win at Daytona. I don't know how this guy does it in a thrilling battle with Taylor Butcher Benjamin. DRL shines through once again. Again, we had more mass casualties there because of that big-time moon, but might not make a lot of friends, but hey, if those drivers were in DJ's position, they would have done the same thing. How do you... The way this incredible blocking is DJ now reminiscent of Dale Earnhardt Sr. when he finally broke the streak, 20 years of trying in 1998's rendition of the Daytona 500. Burns it down across the infield grass in a car piloted by Kevin Harvick after we lost it in the 2001 500. Taylor Butcher Benjamin comes home second. And how about Marcus Chaffin? Where did he come from in third? Going to hear from all of these drivers and more. Post-race coverage starts now here on Redline Racing Network. Is DJ Daniel probably lit like a Roman candle right now? You heard his frustration, the dejection in his voice earlier. If you remember what I said, it doesn't always go that way. But he was able to become Superman out there on the racetrack with an invisible force field, being able to block just about anything the competition threw at him. Was able to keep that car glued to the racetrack. And what a thrilling finish here from Daytona. I want to thank all of you for joining us here on Redline Racing Network this evening. Make sure you smash the like button, ring the bell. This way you'll get notified next week when DRL goes live for their second campaign, race number 2, next week. Same time, same place, right here on Redline Racing Network. So we now get ready to talk to our top 3 drivers. Joining me now in the Tony Trempasso Memorial Broadcast booth, Marcus, Mr. Where did he come from? How did you pull off a top 3 finish? You were back there 10, 15 positions, not even a handful of laps. I look up, and here you are, P3. How were you able to gain all that track position at the end of this race when it mattered, brother?
Well, Matt, they call me the Magic Man. Now you see me, now you don't. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Now, sometimes the old saying "it's better to be lucky than good" is true. I mean, we weren't bad tonight. I felt like we were pretty good.
Absolutely.
Just got caught up in some unfortunate events. Every wreck that I was involved in, it was just wrong place, wrong time. And it's usually the line that I had just picked a lap prior. But no, man, I'm thrilled that we stuck it out. Was able to get ALR podium, keeping that streak alive. So, yeah, looking forward to Rockingham, dude.
Man, I'll tell you what, you hit the nail on the head. This race did not go your way, even in the slightest. I mean, you had about as much adversity staring you in the face over the course of this 100 laps that I have seen in a long time. Every time something happened on the racetrack, You seem to have VIP tickets for it or up close and personal encounter, and that really prohibited, your charge towards the front. Clearly, your car had good speed. You had the lap times. What changed for you at the end of this race? What was the moment that really allowed you to punch through and come home with the top five or the top three here to close this thing out?
I turned the aggressiveness up a little bit right there at the end. I ran all race long about maybe 70%. I really wasn't pushing it that bad, and I noticed that I was leaving gaps and the guys were filling them, and it was going to cause something. So I went ahead and went to the back. Unfortunately, the wrecks followed me back there too. But no, when I turned it up, it just everything flowed a lot better. I was able to pick the line that was going, and like I said, a little bit of luck sprinkled on top, and this is kind of what happens with it.
Hey, well said. Heck of a run. Great team effort by all of you guys out there. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done on the two? The floor is yours, sir.
Well, I want to thank Team ALR. These guys, they work really hard. You know us from other leagues. So we're not strangers in here even. We're just excited. I think the anticipation for this season was really high tonight, and unfortunately we had some bad runs. Bryce got caught up in that one and couldn't get back up, but if you know Bryce, you know Rockingham's like that's his thing. So I think the beginning of this season is setting up good for ALR to come out on.
Hey, well said. And one thing that is apparent, the fight, grit, and determination, not just from you, but everyone on the team is real. And you really showed what can be done when you put your mind to it out there on the racetrack. You got the vibing out there, made the right moves at the right time, and the Magic Man comes home P3. Heck of a job, big time run. He'll take that and the momentum into Rockingham next week. Marcus, thanks for joining me up here in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, Matt. Appreciate it, DJ.
Put you back down here in the broadcast waiting room. And you heard it right from his horse's mouth. You just need a little bit of luck sometimes to go your way. And a couple good decisions on the racetrack. Bob's not going off in front of you at times. Good things will happen. What a heck of an effort there by Marcus as he comes home in that second or third place position. As we now look for Taylor Butcher Benjamin, do we have a new rivalry brewing here between DJ Daniel and Taylor Butcher Benjamin? Stick around. You got to find out, folks, over the course of this season. Get ready now to see if we can bring him up here into the booth. He is way down there in the VC, so we're going to have to do it this way with him. See if this works. Sometimes it's not just a quick, easy toss him into the broadcast booth and it's a done deal. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Matt up top in the Toyota Pass Memorial booth. You got a copy there, brother.
I do.
Hey, man. First and foremost, you took the green flag of this race, and you were starting in another county. You were back there in the rear with the gear.
Yeah, well, I messed up and didn't get to the dual races on time, so I'm like, all right, I guess I'll take on this challenge. And
now, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, you're okay. I mean, I knew it was going to be a long way to go to get to the front, but obviously a lot can happen on a play track like we saw tonight. And after the one big one on lap 20 or whatever it was, I mean, I had 2 minutes of damage. I thought I was all done for. It was just going to limp around the rest of the race, but everything got all fixed, and luckily didn't suffer any engine damage. So, yeah, I didn't lose any power somehow. So that was a blessing. And then just a lot more calamity happened on, and that last lap, oh, if only I didn't have 16X going down the backstretch against DJ, because I mean, a couple of 4Xs I got were getting hit under caution, which that kind of messed me up because since it was like 1v1 there,
yep,
with half a lap to go, I couldn't afford to accidentally bumper hook him and spin him out and give me more X, because that would have just I would have just lost the race right there. So I knew I was in a tough spot, but you know, congrats to DJ for a great race, and it's really good to see a big field here tonight, and hopefully we can keep this up.
Yeah, that's, I want to get to that point first. I don't want to shift away from what you were able to accomplish here. For a lot of these, fans, viewers, or drivers that are new to this series, I knew you absolutely could get through, this field and be a factor here at the end. Certainly when that caution broke out. In fact, it got rowdy for you a couple times out there, really close to getting into a couple of these. You had some luck on your side. But after that initial damage to your race car, I thought the same thing. And that's because typically we don't see these many caution flags in DRL competition. Well, you have this many opportunities to come down pit road and to work on a wounded race car. Certainly, that aided your efforts. And then getting down to the wire, so many of us remember you going up against the hammer. And then now here you are going up against DJ, as you said, 1v1. And not having the ability to deliver the knockout punch. Not that you would KO him, but perhaps not drive as aggressively as you would like to match his blocking. You guys put out a thrilling finish, and you come home with a P2 runner-up after the adversity you faced tonight. That is one heck of an effort. And thanks for joining me up here in the booth, man. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done on that 88?
Well, of course, thank all the DPR guys, and it's good to see a lot of OG guys back, like Chris James and Spencer Tart from like 5-6 years ago. So that's pretty cool. I know we got a lot of pretty fast guys: Dylan Murcott, Andrew Phipps, just to name a few as well. So it's going to be a competitive series, I think, this year, and
for sure.
Yep, and of course, thank you for doing the broadcast and the fans. So. Hope to put on another great show next week at what is it, Rockingham?
Yes, sir.
Yep, and I think general consensus is that most everybody really loves that track. So hopefully the same kind of action we'll see that we saw tonight. Hopefully we get it again next week.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Excitement from the seasons of old. Taylor Butcher Benjamin finds a way to come out of the woodwork and dial up another epic 1v1 battle to the end. Comes up just a little bit short, but my God, did he have to work for it, and he earned it. Thanks for joining me up here in the booth. We look forward to watching you compete next week at Rockingham.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'll see you then.
Always a pleasure to talk to TBB each and every time he straps up here in the DRL competition. I'm going to put you back down in the broadcast waiting room table. Certainly last but not least, your in-race reporter during his last interview was dejected, was upset out on the racetrack. And I told him, believe in yourself, be patient, and you will find a way to get the job done. And once again, puts on a thrilling block of ages. I'm lost for words, DJ. How were you able to do it again in an entirely different series at Daytona? What is with you in Daytona to kick these seasons off, man? You are just magical out there at times, buddy.
I got 2 words for you. I am shaking. That's 3 words, actually. I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. Me and Chris, my crew chief, we have a knack for being there at the end, and I was screaming at him on the last lap, talk to me, because you can't see but so far behind you.
Right. And I didn't even want to bother you because I knew you were laser focused, and I didn't want to disrupt that. Talk to me about that restart. How were you able to just get that 29 machine up to speed? And then how were you able to hold on to that? I mean, you took some big time shots, and that car did not budge from the racetrack. How did you hold on to that? Then you had an epic battle there with the second winningest driver in the series, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. You were able to hold him off and put that 29 in victory lane. It's absolutely incredible.
I don't know, man. I blew the motor up doing donuts, so she gave me everything I needed for those last 2 laps, and Man, that was nuts there with Taylor. I hope he's not upset about
No,
my blocking, but
not
I
at all.
told Chris, I said this thing's either coming back on a wrecker or it's coming on in victory lane.
Yeah, Taylor was a little limited with what he could do because he almost pointed out of the race. So he had a great time with you. He's happy, and he looks forward to racing with you throughout the course of the season, man. And, also, you know what? Shout out your spotter. You get some help, from a great individual that a lot of times is behind the scenes. Yeah, who do you got working with you over there? Who was your eye in the sky tonight in that voice of reason in the headset?
I got my good buddy Chris. He's been helping me out for, good lord, about 4 or 5 years now. I think 4. Man, he's just so awesome. He's great at coaching me. He's great at keeping me calm, and yeah, sometimes he gets a bad response from me. You know that personally. But yeah, he's just awesome, man. If it wasn't for him or Rocco's Sign Shop, I wouldn't be here.
Hey, well said, DJ. And last but not least, before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done on the 29th?
Well, I know we already talked about him, but definitely got to thank Chris. He's been my day one. He's been there since day one, quite literally. Uh, like I said, if it wasn't for him and his wife over at Rocco's Sign Shop, I wouldn't even be doing this right now. Um, yeah, mom, dad, everybody that supports me on here, just it's incredible, man. I don't know. I'm shaking.
I would be too, man. And I still can't believe what I just witnessed. And that was, you see you do it once, you see it again and it still hits you the same way. And that was just a fun race to call. Couldn't be happier for you. And way to kick a season off that had so many unanswered questions. I'm sure, kind of a new car for you. And how would Daytona go? I know you and I kind of talked pre-race, and here you are at the end of this thing, burning it down in victory lane. Excellent job, man. And hopefully you can repeat again here, because remember, you got a couple races at Daytona this week. Hey, this is race 1, man. Maybe you're going to go on a roll here, and we'll see what happens Wednesday night, bud.
Dude, I don't know what it is. There's somebody looking down on me in these season openers.
I
mean,
know.
that that first wreck, I go back to then, dude. I shouldn't even have been in this race anymore. I mean, I'm backwards looking at the wall, hitting cars, and she was fine. I took 30. Nah, I think it was like closer to 40 seconds of optional, like 38, something like that. But yeah, shout out to the pit crew, man. They got this horse back running.
They certainly did. And yeah, you're right. It all goes, it really comes back. That was the defining moment of their race. You woulda, coulda, shoulda had that race car wadded up, but a similar story for Taylor Butcher Benjamin. He got some damage, was able to get it fixed as well. And both you guys put on a spectacle, a finish that'll be talked about for a long time, I firmly believe. And he is your race winner here, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Mr. Excitement Daniel, the master of miracles at Daytona's season opener. He has done it time and time again, and once again delivers an epic performance here to open up DRL's 2025 campaign. Thanks for joining me up here in the booth, bud. I appreciate your help.
Also,
Go ahead.
Also, shout out to you, man. These broadcasts are awesome, and I love being up in the booth with you when possible. And shout out to the fans that are watching. We wouldn't be doing this without y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the show.
Oh, we certainly did, DJ. Thanks for that. Like DJ said, guys, we appreciate you, all the support you give the channel, the love you show the league. And make sure, once again, you smash the like button and ringing bell so you know next week where we're to be when these guys tackle the rock next week as we go short track racing right here on Redline Racing Network. DJ, I'm going to put you down in the broadcast waiting room momentarily, bro. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Post race is a wrap, and race number 1 officially has been etched into the history books. And who could have drawn up this one? A new driver with a lot of talent, surrounding himself in a brand new league of veterans and new up-and-coming iRacing stars. A lot of questions, a lot of stress, speculation pre-race. How would it go at the end of the day? found himself in adversity. His car not acting like it should, and perhaps not the best situation out there on the racetrack for that driver at that point in time, but he found a way to get himself back in check and then became almost spiritual out there on the racetrack is DJ Daniel and Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Duke it out here, as Taylor said, 1v1 here to the finish. And DJ able to weld that race car to the pavement when virtually, myself included, you shouldn't be able to hold it on the racetrack. Able to best off Taylor Butcher Benjamin in a thrilling finish here on Redline Racing Network. And then, and how about Marcus? Determined, not giving up, just stared it in the face and found a way to come home P3. Great stories and how they got there from all of our podium finishing drivers here this evening. As we go ahead and get ready to take a look at the results here for the final time before we officially close this thing out. And I am still stifled. I am shocked. I didn't think we were going to see that at the end. And that's why I always say it's never over until it's over. Just because you've seen these things play out a few times before doesn't mean it's going to go the same way. And that is the magic of restrictor plate racing, no matter what way you slice it. Let's go ahead and get that graphic off the screen here. As we take a look at the final results here from race 1. Throw that up on the big screen for you folks at home. Let's get rid of this graphic. And again, you just heard from him moments ago. Punches his ticket into victory lane in race 1 of the season in an epic thrilling battle with Taylor Butcher Benjamin, DJ Daniel. TBB comes home with a strong second, while Marcus Chaffin grinds it to a 3rd place finish. Buzzy Mongold and Danny Rogers round out your top 5. The 13 of Matthew Casbro is going to come home 6th, while Ralph, the senior version, has a great run with a strong 7th place finish. And Kirby Captua comes home in 8th. Kenny Thompson, the Master of Chaos. Spencer Teal, the real deal Teal, rounds out your top 10. Gary Donaldson, Chris James, Dakota Osborne, Andrew Phillips, Samuel Carter round out your top 15. And those drivers at one point in time or another looked like they were going to be a factor. Phillips led a lot of laps. Unfortunately, heartbreak for him as his car reacted erratically to a push from Matt Sizzler as we were coming down to the end. Ultimately, took him out of the race early. Gary Farnsworth, Matt Sizzler, Kyle Gray going to round out your top 18. As we go ahead and get ready to circle these graphics, switch over to the next page for you guys. Disregard the bottom. I have no idea why it's saying that. That's interesting. And with that being said, folks, the rest of these results just do not want to cooperate. I know we had, actually, we can just do it this way. So rounding out your top 18 was Kyle Gray. 19th going to be Brandon Broby. James Pandolf, the HMFIC of the league, is going to round out your top 20. Dylan Murcott, David Anderson, and Bryce Royer going to come home in that 23rd place position. Tyler in the 10 ride comes home 24th. Well, Donald Hickson Jr. was strong early. Trouble found him on the racetrack. Is going to come home in 25th. Well, Austin Friedman and Clayton Lamech round out the top 28. 29th, David Keisha. Well, Mad Max, who took an absolutely horrific shot to the face out there on the racetrack, is going to round out your top 30. Nick Robinson going to come home in that 31st place position. Dylan Glazier down 22 laps, 30 and finishing at 32nd place position, while Robbie Minor comes home 33rd. The 3 machine of Vincent going to slot in that 34th place position, while Edwin Lidoff rounds out the top 35. The 11 machine piloted by John Barry officially going to get points for 36th place, and rounding out the field of 37 starters who took the initial green flag, Mark Royce, who comes home 37. I'd like to take a moment to thank all of you guys for joining us here on Redline Racing Network for tonight's broadcast coverage. I have to thank all our strategic partners, Service Magic, Team Watson Racing Setups, the #1 speed shop and featured partner here on Redline Racing Network, DRL James Pandolf. Congratulations to DJ Daniel once again. I still can't believe he pulled it off. And all of you guys for grinding it out on the racetrack, you fans in the stands, watching this content, welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones. And as the late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor, and we'll see you next time right here on Redline Racing Network.